Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second week after its rebirth. Welcome to NXT UK. And well, I'm hyped for tonight's show as much as I'm hyped for next week NXT and next week NXT UK as well, as much as the next pay-per-view, which will be next Sunday, the NXT World Tour Takeover event, which will be held in the United Kingdom. Also, there's some news that I have to share with all of you, and the news goes, we get it in order. First, let's get through what happened this past week on NXT for everything that we have to get through, as a reminder of. First off, well, this past week on NXT, from my personal point of view, it was a very, very bad beginning. I mean, it could have been a worse beginning when I got attacked by my takeover opponent, by the devilish, demonic bastard who is the NXT champion, Demon Senior, in the backstage area. But I fought back with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my fighting spirit, and I could make him leave like the coward, leave the area like the coward that he is. He left the building, and well, then later that evening, the same evening, I fought his son, who's the NXT North American champion, and his son is supposed to be half demonic. But I know I was the underdog, and everyone expected for the so-called half demon to kick my ass. And make no mistake about it, Demon Jr., being a demon or not, demonic or not, he's a powerhouse. He's more powerful, stronger as I ever could, and maybe even more sick and twisted as I ever could as well, and maybe even tougher, but that's questionable. He has so many strengths and only a couple of weaknesses, so he was a tough opponent, but nonetheless, it was great. I fought against him with everything I could. Clark appeared with a steel chair, smashed the so-called half demon, Demon in the head with it, and to get his revenge, while I focused on mine last week. And it was an easy task, and at some point the demon grabbed me by the face, hit me with a modified choke slam onto a sledgehammer, and my back still feels the effect of it. But my mind says I keep fighting back, and I keep fighting back, and keep fighting back, and this fighting spirit led to a final knee of glory where I busted the demon's skull. Blood, I don't know, I think I might saw blood, but I'm not sure about it, and I don't know if skulls can even bleed on herself without all of this flesh around it. But anyways, I hit the demon with knee of glory with everything I could, and I got the biggest upset in NXT history when I defeated Demon Jr. this past week on NXT. It surprised the hell out of everybody. It even surprised me, because I know how tough the opposition was, how tough my opponent was, and how much the odds were in his favor instead of mine. But that's a situation that I'm used to. The odds were never in my favor, and that's why people underestimate me. People like Demon Jr., people like his father, Demon Senior. And Demon Senior last week was a perfect example of how much jeopardy your title reign, your torture of NXT really is. Your reign of terror might come to an end, comes next week Sunday. Because you see, your son underestimated me, and what happened? He lost. And when you underestimate me, come next week Sunday, there might be a new NXT champion, and his name will be Sasha. Because you see the difference between you and I, Demon. I don't underestimate you. I know how tough you are. I know what I know, what accomplishments you have. I mean, you lost only one match so far. We are pin and submission. That's been in a half year, in your time being in a half year here. That doesn't matter that you mostly go for cheap shots, for shenanigans, for numbers game. It doesn't matter. You only lost one match clean in the middle of the ring. And that was against Samoa Joe in a Hell in a Cell match where you underestimated him. That's why I brought everything of this that I just set up. Because you underestimated one of the toughest men in the entire wrestling history. And you might do the same mistake again come next week Sunday with me involved. And if you do so, I will become the new NXT champion. That's what I'm confident about. Because you see, whenever people underestimate me, I shocked them and I walked out victorious. Much like this past week on NXT with your son. Your son underestimated me and I walked out victorious. But that wasn't everything that happened this past week on NXT. We had Clark's return in my match, already talked about. But we haven't talked about another big return because the NXT Women's Champion Dakota Kai returned to try to get in order to get her revenge on the Demon family, on the entire women's squad of the Demon family. And that's also what she requested here earlier tonight. She went to my office and she requested a tag team match with her and her teammate Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley as well against the entire women's squad of the Demon family, and I of course accepted. Despite Dakota being at her first night here tonight in action after her injury, but I think she's ready to get her revenge of the Demon family who injured her so badly. And same being said about Clark's return. I mean, he was injured by none other than the North American champion Destiny Jr. and he got involved in the match that I had with Destiny Jr. like I already said this past week on NXT. So I found out a solution, because since Clark wants his revenge and since he's also very high on the rankings of NXT with his win record, with his also banging 5-star matches in the past as well, I decided to give him a title opportunity. I already thought about giving him and Blue Falcon a tag title opportunity, but Blue Falcon has an illness, so there won't be no tag title opportunity here tonight for them. Instead, Clark will have the night off because he has a big match next week on NXT where he gets an opportunity to be added to the matchup between Big Sash and the North American champion Destiny Jr. for the North American Championship, which will be next week Sunday. So hopefully Clark gets ready, gets the rest, trains enough, get enough sleep, that he's prepared and ready for his big match next week on NXT. I wish him the best of luck. If he wins, like I said, he will be added to the matchup between my brother Big Sash and the NXT North American Champion Destiny Jr. comes next week Sunday. So, but that's not everything. Blue Falcon and Clark of course will get tag title opportunities, but the question will be for the NXT titles or NXT UK tag titles, maybe for both even. But Blue Falcon got an illness and I won't go into any detail because it's very private. He came to me and we spoke about it, and I wish him the best of luck to get the illness to return from this illness as soon as possible, but he gets the time that he needs to recover from this illness. And it's unfortunate because for Blue Falcon it's always a highlight to watch, not just for me but for the entire audience, for the entire locker room. He's one of the greatest stars we have in NXT right now, and it sucks that he's been down and out for a couple of weeks, much like the same case is with, in similar cases with Wesley. Wesley suffered an injury because of my good friend Andy's attack last week on NXT UK. So after the matchup and in the matchup as well, so Wesley will be down and out as well, unfortunately. But there are also, like I said, good news with the returns of Clark and Dakota Kai, and also there's one more bad news, a very personal and very hard-hitting bad news, because my brother Big Sash got attacked last week by his takeover opponent the so-called half-demonic Death Demon Jr., the North American champion. And much like I did earlier tonight, my brother fought back and then let the Junior, laying around backstage before walking away from the occasion. Because my brother just defended himself, because he's much like me, he's a fair sportsman, and he did so in the main event last week against the NXT champion, Death Demon, my takeover opponent, the so-called demonic Death Demon Senior. And Death Demon Senior, like the coward that he is, got himself disqualified on purpose after injuring my brother Big Sash. And the doctor said that if Big Sash keeps it low, he might make it to next Sunday's takeover event, which will be next week on Sunday. And hopefully the doctors are right, but he has to keep it low, so he won't be here tonight in action. He won't be in action next week on NXT or NXT UK, and hopefully he will be in action next week Sunday at takeover event, which will hold in the United Kingdom. Our next pay-per-view. Hopefully he will be recovered. He recovers back then, until then, and we'll make it to our next pay-per-view. It would be really bad timing for him to be injured. I mean, at the pay-per-view it's planned for me and him to try to defend our tag titles against none others than the Demon family, the North American champion Death Demon Jr. and his father, the NXT champion Death Demon Senior, while also Big Sash got his own title opportunity for singles titles against the North American champion Death Demon Jr., while I face off against the NXT champion Junior's father, Death Demon Senior. So it would be really bad timing for Big Sash to get it if he won't make it, but we will see if he can make it, and maybe we need to change plans at the pay-per-view event. But also, while Big Sash won't be in action, he might be with me in the locker room in the backstage area for some promos, and also I have to I'm also his private security guard, but also I want to issue a warning to the Demon family, because if you attack my brother Big Sash at any time, at any place, then there will be serious consequences. And I spoke with the boards of directors, and they've said that I can do whatever I want in this case, because you ruined enough careers and lives already with your demonic and sadistic ways of injuring and torturing people. So they give me their authority to do whatever I want. So demons, I warn you not to attack Big Sash, because if you do, then all of you family members will be fired. You will lose all your gold. You will lose everything that you worked so hard for, despite all of your shenanigans, your cheap shots, your cowardness, and the numbers game. But you still worked for it the half year, and also I'm pretty sure that you want to torture even more souls. So if you do that, you will lose the opportunity of torturing anyone, because you then will be fired for a lifetime. And also there will be even further consequences that I will go into detail if you have the nerves to attack Big Sash. But maybe the demons will listen to what I have, listen to my warning and respect that. And like I said, you don't attack him, you get more victims to perhaps torture. So I would be thinking about those words. Anyways, let's speak about what happens this week here at NXT UK, because, well, we already spent so much time on talking about the news and what happened this past week on NXT. So let's talk about what will happen here tonight at NXT UK. We have a match between Casey Catanzaro against Sue Cox. Then we have the match for the vacant NXT UK tag titles, and which will be a tag match between Mustache Mountain and Blade Runners for those tag titles of the United Kingdom. Then we have a backstage brawl between Zero and Andy, because that's the only way things should been going between those two. because it's so heated, it's so fired up. They should battle it out in the backstage area in the parking lot brawl. And then we have also with Randy Orton versus Legend Killer a little preview, because the rivalry is heating up. And so let's get this match going with Randy Orton as a manager. It's good to have his appearance here at NXT UK, but also we will have a matchup where I'm involved in a match which is similar to the heat that I have against the Demon. It's someone of the past that I haven't faced for a long time. It's none other than my first opponent, my first pay-per-view opponent back in the days, none other than the person who attacked me on my first night on NXT, none other than the #1 contender for the NXT UK titles, Roddy Strong. So Roderick, the past is back to haunt you, and you will face me in a match here tonight. Also, like I already mentioned, we have the 6-women's tag match between Rhea, Raquel and Dakota, the NXT women's champion Dakota Kai against the NXT tag team champions, the Demon family members, the women's part of the Demon family, that is, of course, with Nightmare, Candice, who are the NXT women's tag team champions, and the former NXT women's champion Ember Moon. Then we also will have a matchup between the NXT, a preview that is, before next week's Sunday, before the next pay-per-view event, which will be, like I already mentioned so many times, the NXT TakeOver World Tour event in the United Kingdom between Stacy Keibler and Xia Li. It will be happening here tonight. And then we also will have, before this, we also will have Maskman versus Z Brian. Then we have in the main event the NXT UK champion Maskman against a person who tried to cost him the match last week here on NXT UK against Z Brian Kendrick. And if Z Brian Kendrick wins, he gets added to the title match at TakeOver United Kingdom, because if he can defeat the Maskman, he defeated the champion and he deserves a title shot, in my opinion. Because if you defeat the champion, you deserve a title shot, because you defeated the champion, you earn it, in my opinion. And also he will get, then we have a super sweat match at TakeOver United Kingdom, but Maskman is only got beaten once in singles competition, and that's we have count out by Pete Dunne. So won't be easy for Brian Kendrick to be added to this matchup, but best of luck to both of these gentlemen. And same goes to each and every other participant in the matches here tonight. So we want to wish everybody a good time here tonight and have good luck, and stay tuned with this banging of a show that we have in